Good morning and welcome to Unity Way Church. We are so happy you have joined us this morning, and we invite you to really prepare for a fabulous Sunday lesson, and I would encourage you to be open and receptive to the presence and power of truth. And I'd like to open our service this morning with a daily word from July 17th, 1942. There are many doors into the storehouse of supply. Again, there are many doors into the storehouse of supply. Just take a minute and breathe into that truth and know that we have abundance of health and prosperity. We have abundance of wisdom and zeal and understanding. We live in a world of abundance. So as we affirm that truth, we also know there is only one power and one presence, only one life, one substance. And it is truly our storehouse in which we live and move and have our being. And if you believe this truth with me this morning, I'd encourage you to use our mantra, which we use here at our church, which is, thank you, God, and so it is. Amen. This morning, I just wanted to let you know that this is Myrtle. She's come down from Silent Unity, and Papa Charlie is up in the Silent Unity room right now. So this is Myrtle, and she, as you can see, is wearing her protective mask. And she's going to come down here, or she's spending some time with me this morning, just to keep me in line. So we're happy to have Myrtle here. I want to review the second Sunday of the month, we review or speak our mission and vision statement. So I'd like to share that mission and vision statement with you right now. The mission of Unity Way Church is to empower ourselves and others to grow spiritually by teaching and living unity principles of practical Christianity. In our vision, Unity Way Church is a center where people of all ages come together for healing, prayer, meditation, spiritual growth, education, service, and fellowship. And I'm very proud of that mission and vision, because that is the consciousness that we hold at Unity Way Church in Vista. And I invite you this week to pray over those ideas and thoughts as you go through your daily prayer practice, because truly those ideals stand for what we stand for as a truth church, or the church on the hill. We truly are adhering to the principles that were taught by Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, our co-founders. We have to start our service first with a comic, and I pulled a doozy of one for today. And this is what I call, this is frog wisdom. And it says, if you don't swear while you're driving, you are not paying enough attention to the road, as only Kermit could tell us. I don't know where Miss Piggy is. She's probably in the back seat telling him how to drive. This morning, or before we get into that, we will do our daily word. And this morning, the daily word for today is divine order. The affirmation is, divine order is always unfolding in my life and in the world. And before we do the daily word, I just like to take a second and sync up with the presence of Silent Unity back at Unity Village, where someone is in that prayer chapel, where that light is in that room, the light of truth and illumination, that light that has been shining since 1890. And I'm so proud that we have that prayer center. We have that prayer availability to call or text or write. We have that ability, or we can just become still within our own self, and we can connect up with that energy. And we know, and they know, we're supporting Silent Unity where they are, and they're also supporting us where we are right here and right now. So we believe in the power of prayer based on truth. And now the daily word. As spring ripens into summer, each year new leaves transform bare trees and canopies of green. Tiny seedlings grow into sturdy plants and decorate the landscape with an array of colorful blossoms. I marvel at the divine order demonstrated as the earth renews itself. I recognize that even as the earth appeared barren in wintertime, new life was preparing for this springtime growth. I notice this pattern in my life. I may be demonstrating visible growth in my life, or, like the earth in winter, it may seem that my life is stagnant and barren. I remember that as the seasons of nature change, so do the seasons of my life. Even when it is not apparent to me, I know that divine order is always unfolding in my life and in the world. And from the Gospel of St. Mark, and this is chapter 4, verse 28. The earth produces of itself first the stalk, then the head, then the full grain in the head. And if you'd please join me with our affirmation. Divine order is always unfolding in my life and in the world. It's a powerful thought. It's a very powerful thought. This morning we're going to be talking about the salmon people. We're going to be talking about the ideals that we can symbolically and metaphysically glean from the famed salmon of the Pacific Northwest. And what I like about this idea is it is very metaphysical. Years ago, when I was studying Egyptology, for years I was taught in classes that the Egyptians worshipped insects. And then I realized that they didn't worship insects, though the scarab was a symbolic symbol of attributes that were taught in a myth-like culture. And this is very similar to what we're going to be talking about this morning. So salmon, we all know the salmon fish that are up in the Pacific Northwest. A little bit of history, they are extremely important to the Native Americans and the Pacific Northwest cultures, to their lifestyle and their spirituality. Like the buffalo, salmon give themselves up for food for humans. In the Northwest, Native American myths, salmon hold a special honor and respect with its people. Salmon symbolizes determination, abundance, fertility, prosperity, and renewal. And who does not need that in their life? Wisdom and perseverance. There's some taboos, also. The taboos, ritual rules regarding salmon to avoid offending them in special salmon dances, and the first salmon ceremonies celebrated at the beginning of the salmon fishing season. After eating salmon, tribes would put the full skeletons back into the water, believing spirit would rise up again and turn back into salmon people, thus recreating the life cycle. And you can see the beginnings of the idea of reincarnation. We can metaphysically model the salmon's wisdom and perseverance in our own lives. But before, I'd like to share with you a very powerful idea from Madison Taylor. Anxiety is a symptom of unresolved emotions. Fear we do not matter, we are not worthy or lovable, we are not safe, or that we are not valued. Any truth teaching always starts with us, the consciousness within us. We are valuable. We are created after that light, the truth. We are created in the image and likeness of God. So we need to really re-examine and refocus our lives and our consciousness as we go through our daily duties and tasks that we do in our relationships. Because we all know that it's no secret that anxiety consumes our minds and our energies, our bodily energies, way too much. What happens is our life is built upon layers of everyday actions, feelings, and accomplishments. So I invite us this morning to swim like the salmon, to swim in wisdom, to swim in perseverance. We are here to live a wisdom-filled life. We are here to wiggle through circumstances. We are here to acknowledge that we live in this presence like the salmon lives in the stream and the waters. We are in this presence we call substance, which is intelligence, always supporting us. Always supporting us. I'd like to share with you from the New Testament, and this is the Epistle of St. Timothy, and this is verse 1, verse 5. The goal of this commandment is love that comes from a pure heart, from a good conscience, and from a sincere faith. How faithful are you to your life? How faithful are you to the wisdom that you believe to be true? Only you can answer that question. You see, because if we're faithful, we're living in the energy of sincere faith. And what happens is we produce a love energy that springs from a pure heart. Do you have a pure heart? To have a pure heart, you have to have a genuine faith. You have to live in the consciousness that all is good, that you're moving and flowing and swimming in absolute truth all the time. So again, we swim in renewal and resilience. Do you swim in renewal and resilient energies every day? You should. Having a prayer practice is one way that you can keep yourself in tune. Keep yourself in the stream, in the current of life, knowing that you are moving. You're moving here and you're moving there, but you're always moving in synchronicity with the power of truth. I remind you, don't get lost in endless empty life words or distorted feelings. Sometimes we need to just stop yapping. How many times do we consciously realize what we're saying? Are we putting our hearts and our minds into what we're saying? We can model that by remembering who we are. Robert Schuller from the Crystal Cathedral shares this truth with us. Every person has a command center. Touch it and it sparks. That command center is the Christ within us, the Christ self within us, the divinity within us. And when we touch it and we use this power and we're in the control seat and we're living and moving and swimming and going in the directions of life where we want to go, that's when we truly know we are in our command center. And we all have this command center. We all have the ability to reconnect, to sit back in that desk, to sit back in that chair and really think, is this what I want to say? Is this how I want to show up? Never overlook your spiritual gifts. We need to consent to our spiritual gifts. Do you consent to the gifts and the blessings that you have? Do you really believe that you're blessed? Do you really believe that you deserve to be blessed? We all need to claim our divinity and desire it for it to manifest truly in our life. So again, this morning, I invite you, like the salmon people would say, swim and discover your life's gifts and be nourished. Any of your life gifts, any of your desires should help and nourish you truly to become the person you have come to be. So again, this morning, I invite you to find your life streams and start mentally swimming by desiring to unfold your own soul greatness. When are you going to stand up for your own soul? When is the day, the time, the hour, the moment where you're truly not going to give lip service to the idea that you're divine, but know it, to feel it, and live in that current and stream of truth? From the Jewish scriptures, this is Psalms chapter 51, verse 6. Since you desire truth on the inside, in my hidden heart you teach me wisdom. And I love this. What this is saying is David needed renewal. David, this was King David. We don't know really when this was written, when he was a shepherd or when he was a king, but we do know that it is attributed to David. David needed renewal. We need to have renewal also. Where's your nourishment coming from? Is it from third dimensional thinking or is it from fourth dimensional truth? That you bring down that kingdom of heaven consciousness into your everyday activities. We have to remember in this world, typical psychologists, psychiatrists, and even clergymen attempt to transform people continually through the Adam intellect approach, which is based on a duality separation paradigm. We will never experience wholeness, unity, or oneness if we believe in duality. Duality is an appearance. Duality is an appearance. Just like with the salmon people. The salmon are swimming in the water. They don't even realize that the water is not a part of them. That is how we're supposed to live in God. We are so connected, so unified with that truth, that we live from that truth. We are swimming. We are living in the truth, the understandings of where we are right now. And when we do, we can self-transform by rediscovering our inner life attributes. Here in Unity, we would call those our 12 powers. Have you discovered your 12 powers? Have your salmon people discovered those 12 powers? The power of faith, strength, divine love, wisdom, zeal, renunciation, life, all those 12 attributes that are inherent within us that we can use and we should be using every day from a higher vibration than we usually are using them. We need to dial that up. We need to swim into deeper waters. We need to get into the current and energy of life. One of the things we know is salmon are one of the planet's most unique water animals, and that's because they're raised in fresh water, but then they go to the ocean and live, and then they return back to freshwater. The salmon travel great distances to live out their entire life cycles and to fulfill their destinies. Think of that, the salmon's traveling all the way up those rivers and then traveling all the way down to the ocean, living their life there, and then that innateness that triggers within them, they have to go back to where they're from. Just like us, we need to go back to where our divinity is found. So I encourage you again this morning to start salmon swimming in your own wisdom and perseverance today. And perseverance is not being stubborn. Perseverance is knowing that you are rooted in standing on principle. That's different from just being stubborn. So this morning I'd like to share some attributes that we can see that the salmon model, and they can model for us in our conscious journey. The first one is be flexible and adapt. How flexible and adaptable are you to your life circumstances? The salmon are one of the few fish that can live again both in fresh and salt water. Salmon are born in fresh water, migrate to the ocean, where they spend their adulthood, then they return to their birthing place to spawn. How that is done, only the intelligence of the universe could do that. And I'm here to tell you, if it can happen for a salmon, it's programmed within its own DNA kind of like structure within that salmon. We also have that kind of system within us. We have a GPS that can lead us back to our divinity, no matter how far we went into a far country. Again, we can cultivate the ability to thrive in different environments. So I love about this idea of going from fresh water to salt water. You know, we can't live in church all day. We can't live in our prayer times all the time, but we need to be adaptable and flexible in truth. Again, we need to allow other people to experience the life that they've come to live. We can still support them. And I love that idea of adapting to environments. We have to be, I believe, as true students, more adaptable. Adaptable that everyone doesn't think exactly like us. We're not clones. We're here to be unique individuals of truth. Number two, stay observant and hone your senses. In truth, we do not condemn the human body. The human body is not a vessel of sin. The human body is a vessel of soul greatness. But we also know that our outside senses can lead us astray many times. So again, we need to stay observant. And again, no matter how far away, again, the salmons teach us, the salmon has ventured from their original birthplace. They're able to find their way back by spawning season. How can that be? How can that be? How can that fish have the intelligence, no matter where it was in the ocean, to find its way back home? It does, and we have that same kind of ability within us when we are determined to really hone in our senses and remember who we are. You're the Christ. I'm the Christ. We are all the Christ, and we need to truly live in that wisdom every day. One of the things I learned is that the sense of smell assists the tracing, so that's how they can trace and bring themselves back to where they originally were spawned. Think about that. Think about the innate intelligence of the salmon. We're talking about a salmon. Think about the innate intelligence and the wisdom that is within you, and the wisdom that you can tap into with divine mind. We need to fine-tune our senses as humans, and we need to have the skills to observe more efficiently and effectively. Do you truly believe that you truly are effective in your observation? Are you coloring what you're seeing? Let's be like the salmon. We know where we're going, and let's head there. Number three is fuel up beforehand. Salmon travel up to 3,500 miles to spawn. That's not a typo. That's 3,500 miles. That is a long way to swim. During their entire life trek, this is very interesting too, when they go from the ocean and they go back to where they're going to spawn, they do not eat. along the way. So there won't be any Happy Meals on the way back. And I think this is very important. When we are truly on a journey and we have a goal, and we truly need to have the nourishment spiritually to achieve that goal, we need to fuel up beforehand. We need to truly be in sync with our own divinity. So again, during their trek, they don't stop at any fast food places. And I think as good truth students, we need to not stop at any fast truth places. Let's go with principle. Let's go with truth. Let's go with the laws of the universe that we know that truly will support us as we live our life. From the New Testament, this is the book of Philippians written by St. Paul, chapter 4, verse 18. At the moment I have all I need and more. I am generously supplied with the gifts you sent. We have all the gifts of God within us right now. We do not need to look for an outside Savior. We do not need to look for some piece of the puzzle to complete our soul. Our soul is complete. The core of our soul is complete. So what this means is maybe we need to travel lighter. It's extreme because most humans don't want to travel light. They want to travel heavy. And a lot of the things they bring along the way in our consciousness really slow us down. Let's travel lighter. Let's be like the salmon. Let's trust the innateness and let's go. What this also means is becoming less duality distracted. Are you distracted by duality? Do you really turn off the cable news channels when you've had enough? Do you really? Or you just mute it? You know, we need to swim and wiggle and realize that we have a technicolor journey. It's called our life. This is why we've incarnated. Let's enjoy it. Let's be present. Let's be present to the presence. Norman Vincent Peale said, "Stand up to your obstacles and do something about them. You will find that they haven't half the strength you think they have." Let's stop focusing on all these things around us. Let's get in the current and let's move. Let's swim. Let's swim in our divinity and perseverance, just like the salmon. They know where they have to go, whether it's to get to the ocean or to get back to where they originally were birthed. They know where they're going. That's a goal. They do not deviate. We need to take an example from that. Number 4 of the attributes of the salmon people are you don't give up. Do you give up too easily? We need to truly persevere like the salmon, even in challenging circumstances. The waters, many times as they're going back up to spawn, they're going against the current. You don't see them on the side all upset. They continue on because we were meant to flow with the current, and sometimes we got to flow, it seems, against the current of the world around us because we live in a fourth dimensional understanding, and that energy will propel us to move forward. Drawing from their inner reserves, the salmon continue to leap and strive until they have reached their goal. When is the last goal you've reached? Every day we should set a goal. Every day we should set a goal for ourselves, and we should make sure that we accomplish that goal. And if we don't, we need to reflect why. And tomorrow, the next day, let's think of another goal that we can enliven and be a part of, because we want to be goal-centered, just like the salmon. Again, swimming against life's current takes perseverance, and we need to draw on the wisdom and the strength and the inspiration that we have within us. That means, again, we have to travel light. Your own resolve and determination is present. Tap into it. Start swimming. Let's wiggle in this current of truth. Some more salmon wisdom. Number 5, make the most of your time. Stop wasting time. Turn off the boo tube. Turn off the computer. Turn off your social whatever your social media may be. I'm not saying you don't want to know what's going on, but 24/7, please, come on guys. The salmon life ends after spawning. Even though they know they pass and they die after they spawn, that doesn't delay their mission, their purpose, or it allows them never to lose their resolve. We're divine. We have the force of the universe with us. Let's keep swimming in the direction we want, and let's not get stuck. The salmon also combines flexibility, perseverance, and a commitment to their highest aspirations. It's amazing what a fish can accomplish. it's amazing what we as human beings can accomplish. Think about that. What are you willing to accomplish in your life? Not other people, you personally, you and I. What are we willing to accomplish? You know, we're not here to just be a replica of Myrtle Fillmore. She accomplished what she came to accomplish. We have our own accomplishments that we need to hone in on and swim in that direction to achieve. So again, tap into that salmon soul quality within you and live your truth life to the fullest. Leonardo da Vinci says, I love those who can smile in trouble, who can gather strength from distress, and grow bravely by reflection. Truth is about self-discovery. It's about spending time in reflection. We change ourselves. We don't change other people. We change ourselves. It's an inside job. Let's remember that. The world around us is vibrationally a direct reflection of our own interior world. If your interior world is chaos, the world around you is going to be a whirlpool of trouble. So we need to think differently. And again, that means we need to stop swimming in fear. And again, let's find the direction our life is to go. Maybe that's studying some new devotional material. Maybe it's coming to another class with Reverend Michael. Whatever it may be, you need to dedicate your soul to that. It's part of your purpose. The key is don't get stuck or glued to one stream or one water pathway. There are many streams that lead to the ocean, just like when you're traveling from the ocean back up to where these salmon spawned. We all travel different streams. Not all of us all travel the same way or the same speed. Each of us are individual. This is why the salmon people in the Northwest, the Indians, the indigenous culture, so believed that these were such sacred fish, because they lived a purpose from the beginning all the way to the end. And they wanted to remember that they themselves could have that sacred soul purpose. From Proverbs, and this is again from the Jewish scriptures, chapter 10, verse 9. He who walks purely walks securely, but he who walks in crooked ways will be found out. We need to stop swimming up streams that are dead-end cul-de-sacs. We need to stay with the current. We need to stay with the flow of our life. That means we need to find a wisdom goal. We need to find a wisdom goal within us. Again, a salmon-based leader chooses integrity and leaves a legacy beyond what they can see. Are you willing to leave a legacy? Are you willing to leave a truth legacy, not only for yourself, but your family or anyone that you love? That the people can say, hey, they lived in truth. I might not always agree with where they were coming from, but they were steadfast in what they believed, and they lived that truth. It's a powerful, powerful testimony. And for Lao Tzu, I can never say his name exactly right. This is a great mystic from China. Mastering Lao Tzu. Mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is pure power. Like the salmon people, we need to know where our power comes from. It comes from within us. We were born with it. We need to tap into this current, this energy, and direct it so it propels us in the direction that we want to swim, where we want to live our life out, how we want to live our relationships, how we want to show up. So what we need to do in the time and months ahead, in years, we need to keep on swimming. We need to keep swimming in truth. That means going deeper into the water, going deeper into the current of our understandings. That might mean that we need to maybe read Lessons in Truth for the 14th time. Maybe you need to read Lessons in Truth from the back of the book to the front of the book. Whatever it takes you to see the truth that you're reading, to engage in it at a deeper level. That's truly living in the spiritual current. And what happens is we listen, we become reconnected with our own life mission and purpose. We need to use our time wisely. We know this incarnation has a beginning and an end. Let us not waste any more time spending it on things that truly do not propel us and lead us into the direction of happiness and absolute joy. Nelson Mandela says the greatest glory in living lies not in never failing, but in raising every time we fall. Every time we fall, every time we stumble, we have the energy to get back up, to continue to move in the direction of our goals. Let's do it. Let's do it this week. Let's do it this morning. Number 6, keep growing and thriving. We are here to grow and thrive. Some of the biggest challenges that you face in your life, whether they're from childhood or even adulthood, can be really wonderful experiences that teach us how to grow, to become the I am that I am within each and every one of us. And what happens when you have big obstacles, when you have rocks you got to somehow swim around, when you have a dam that appears to be standing in your way? What you do is you acquire skills. You acquire the skills to learn how to deal with that situation. That's part of growing, and that's part of truly thriving in this life and during your life incarnation. So again, I'd like to just recap some of these ideas, the salmon life tools, which I'm talking about, which we can use symbolically in our own life. Any one of these are truly something to really pray over, to think about, to swim with this morning in consciousness. The first one is be flexible and adapt. Number 2, stay observant and hone your senses. 3, fuel up beforehand. 4, don't give up. 5, make the most of your time. 6, the last one, keep growing and thriving. I'm here to tell you, if you do any of these 1 through 6, these ideas, allow them to really percolate into your soul self, you truly can live as the salmon people would want us to live, in integrity, and we can tap into this legendary oneness with the universe. The salmon are living the life they've come to live. The question, are you living the life you have come to live? So this morning, I would say, swim this Sunday like the legendary soul that you are, that you were created to be. Swim like a salmon, swim free, swim deep. Keep moving forward in the direction of your goals, no matter what obstacles you may meet. And again, I will see you in the water, so dive in. Thank you, and God bless. Now is the time in our service where we will do our love offering, and I invite you to take whatever your gift may be, to put in the palm of your hands, and breathe into it the salmon life energy, that idea that we have perfection within us, that we can be flexible, we can persevere, that we don't give up. That's the kind of salmon energy that we need to live in our consciousness and all of our activities. So as you take your gift and you imbue it with this salmon-like energy, we will say our mantra, which we say at church here, which is, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I give and all that I receive. And we just say, thank you, God, and we seal it in the vibration of absolute love, wisdom, and perseverance. And now, this is our time where we do our prayer of protection, and I invite each and every one of us to hold that sacred space. There's a lot of unrest that has happened in consciousness in our country and around the world. But at this time, right here and right now, we need to be focused and know that we are protected, that there is a divine order unfolding, that we have come to be who we have come to be. Let's live that truth. Let's stand up for what we believe in. But remember, we stand up in truth. We stand up on law, metaphysical truth, and that will guide us through any turbulent waters or whirlpools that we're moving through. Because here's the deal, we're destined. We're already destined for the glory. So, if you join with me, please. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. May you spend this Sunday thinking and really contemplating how living the life like the salmon people did years ago can truly impact your life and your journey this Sunday. Live like the salmon, live in wisdom, and live and truly demonstrate that perseverance, because you're worthy. Thank you, and God bless.